One. And roll.
And welcome once again to the Love Power Show. I'm Wallace Red right here, right now. Give us a call right here at 901-452-3094. You may call 901-324-7490. You may leave your comments or questions on Facebook Live on the Love Power Show. And I'm Wallace Red. We've got Omar Baruti calling in today. We've got Judge Joe Brown calling in. And the judge is going to have some interesting things to say about Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, George Bush, the Bushes, and Barack Obama. But today's title is that we need to learn as a people how to play politics. Absolutely, and give us a call and tell us what you think about that topic. Is that true? Not true? Correct or incorrect? Give us a call right here at 901-452-3094. You may call us at 901-324-7490. And let us not waste any time and let us get right into the topic. Who do we have on the line?
Omar is ready.
All right, Omar Baruti. Omar, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Good morning, audience. Good morning, everybody.
Have you heard of this before? I stay ready, therefore I don't have to get ready. And so, you know, originally, Omar, we had said we would talk about power, leadership, and we would raise the question as to where are black men in this discussion. But after looking at recent events, all of the campaigns and all of that politics and all of that, just finished talking with the judge, Judge Joe Brown, and we settled on, and tell me what you think about this, Omar. We as a people need to learn how to play politics in the sense that and you say this all the time, that nothing has changed. Not true. I think that's a great point, to a great extent. We've had all of these politicians, local and national, promising this and that. Vote for me, and I'll set you free. And that has not happened yet. A great piece of insight by the Temptations some time ago. Is that right, Dan? Dan says he totally agrees with us. I like it when someone totally agrees with me. Hey, what an ego. What self-absorption on my part. But he's in agreement today, Omar. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of material to cover. And tell me what you think, Omar.
You know, in the political arena, we have to be able to maneuver in this country because this country is really not made for black people. It's not made for us. But then again, the powers that be, and there are a lot of hidden powers, a lot of lobbyists, a lot of even people that are in the House and in the Senate, when they leave office, they go into lobbying. And you get companies that pay them to get legislation passed that suits that particular company or that particular industry. I said this many times, when you go into politics and you leave politics, you should not be allowed to lobby for at least 100 years.
100 years?
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're getting paid to put laws in the book that give preference to individual companies, but not to the people. For example, the Environmental Protection Agency has been stripped by this new administration. The laws that protect the environment have been stripped. So now companies can go and do all kinds of crazy stuff that kill the environment. So the people that are lobbying to get those laws taken off the books can make money at the expense of the people. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's politics, but it's killing the earth. And you go, it makes jobs. It does make jobs. It also makes the earth deteriorate, and your children won't be able to live here. So those politics are really destroying us. And some of those things need to be wiped away. You should not be allowed to lie. You should have a right to do that. That should be a felony if you leave office and go into lobbying. It should be a felony. You should go to prison for life. because you're destroying your own people with their craziness.
Mm-hmm.
So political things can also cause damage to the entire human family, not just those people in America.
Mm-hmm.
But politics, I keep hearing my man talk about buying politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them already bought.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you got enough money to buy yours.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't have to buy them. When you put them in office, they're your servant. They work for you.
That's right.
And they should work for you to make sure that you don't lose out on anything that the society offers. But many of them claim they work for you, but undercover they're working for somebody else. Politics should be a round table where you come together and you agree on things, and you don't get everything you want, but you get the things that you feel like I need. I'm going to give you what you need. We're going to kind of work it out.
Mm-hmm. That's
a relationship. That's what it should be. But black folk have always been disenfranchised in the political arena, even from the day they got out of slavery, from Juneteenth on. And it's still happening today. Your politicians are selling you down the river. And somewhere, we got to make sure that ends. We got to make sure it ends.
Well, Omar, it's one thing to analyze this stuff, and here's where the power, the element of power comes in at. And it's another thing to make it happen. Let's take a look at why, for the most part, as a people, our situation has not changed. And that is, we have politicians, as you have said, and it seems that they've not done nearly enough for the people they're supposed to be representing. It seems that when they get this office, they seem to think that they own the office. They work for themselves and their cronies and their friends, but not the people whom they are supposed to be representing. So how does one or a group acquire power to understand politics and change politics to represent their interest? Let's take a look at what has to happen in that regard, Omar.
When you look at what Dana and others went through to get a black mayor in Memphis, because the white mayors we had were not representing black folk.
Mm-hmm.
They were there representing the white folks, because much of the disenfranchisement in the voting booth, was put on us because they didn't want us to vote. Right now, like Trump is trying to shut down the mail system.
Yeah.
By way of his political appointee. Now, he appointed him, but the reason he appointed him to that position was because he was an instrument of evil to shut down the mail system. He felt like would be antagonistic towards him winning re-election.
And you said Donald Trump hired someone, the Postmaster General, who represents his interest, and this individual is an instrument of evil?
Of evil.
Okay. Evil.
Of evil.
Okay.
And what he's doing is inflicting evil things on the innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
Your right to vote should be your right to vote, and nobody should impede that right to vote. So he put a man in office who wants to shut down the mails, the sorting system. They have sorting machines that can sort millions of people a piece of the mail that humans can't possibly do in the time the machine can do it. Shut it down, dismantle it, with no intention of putting it back together, because if the people vote and that sorting machine is in place, those votes will get counted, and that Donald Trump will be counted out. But he knows that. So his people behind the door, his committee, his team that's trying to preserve his position in the seat of power, have put that person in power so he can do Donald Trump's bidding. Because Donald Trump has a criminal mindset, and he's hired some criminals to help him accomplish his mission.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's politics. Politics that go against the interests of the people and the country. But that's the political machine. That's why I say this machine is not for us. I wish we had our own country and we had to deal with the BS that they put on us to try to go from one day to the next and see how we don't survive in a system that they really don't want us to be here in the first place.
Okay, let's narrow it down to this next question. Does Donald Trump come across to you as a desperate man, willing to lie, cheat, and steal just to win, like removing the sorting machines and hiring people who will do what he wants done. Do you see that?
Well, I think everybody has told a lie in the temple in the time.
Well, certainly I have.
And the Bible says that Satan is the father of the lie.
Mm-hmm.
He's the father of the lie.
Mm-hmm.
And if Satan has some children, Donald Trump will be his firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
Because they said he's told at least 40,000 lies since he stepped into the seat of power in the White House.
Okay.
And he don't mind lying. So you got a man who won't be truthful to the people. So why is he there? How you gonna lead people if you don't have some basis of truth to walk out on? Like he said, that all this epidemic, this pandemic is a hoax. And you got people dying based on your lie. Because you won't take the sound advice of scientists who know what the damn thing is, who already researched it, and can tell you how to maneuver through it and get around it and get it resolved so it won't kill any more people. But you don't do that. It's a lie. But your whole life is built on lies. And people follow you based on because they think you're a great leader. Only to be deceived and then end up in the grave based on your lie.
Well, you have that group out there who will support and vote for Donald Trump no matter what he does and what he says. So is this an attempt at a certain group in this country to hold on to power at any cost, no matter what?
But this is to keep those great people on both sides in power. The great ones who are the white supremacists that support Donald Trump no matter what, because they feel like their journey in this country is about to come to an end. Well, I heard Judge Joe Brown talk about the gun salesman that took down on Some Avenue. Mm-hmm. And he's saying the man was talking to her about why white people buy so many guns. Because they feel like a point in time is coming when they will be outnumbered by people of color. Mm-hmm. And they feel like colored people, so-called colored people, brown and black skinned people, will get guns and come after them, so they need to be armed to the hilt. Well, that's not the first time I've heard that, and I've also read in many scientific journals when they're talking about the demographics of the people on this planet. They are disappearing. But black folks don't have that kind of mindset to go kill just because they outnumber them. Mm-hmm. How we do it? That's how they do it. Mm-hmm. All over, they've gone and killed people just for the hell of killing them. They hunted down the people of Australia just for the hell of hunting them down. And they didn't call them humans, the Aborigines of Australia. They called themselves the black fellows. But they hunted them down just because they were little, short black people that didn't look like white folks. And they made game out of them. They were hunting, going through the rainforest, killing them. And there was no crime to do it. That's how they operate. If you go into Central and South America, that's what they did down there. They hunted us down, killed us. And they were so-called bringing religion to that part of the world. A Jesuit priest had to tell the king, please get these soldiers out of here. They have killed over 10 million people in the time they've been here. We came here to bring Christ to, we thought were people who were in the darkness when it came to religion. But we have killed over 10 million people who've done nothing to us. We don't operate like that. We don't just go around killing folk just because we want to have some fun. But that was even in the prison down in Cuba, where they had those captives of one of the cities. They claimed that with the World Trade Center. If you looked at those videos, had them all butt naked, building pyramids and giving them shock treatment in the private part. That's inhuman. Mm-hmm. But you can do it because you don't consider them human beings. We don't have that mindset with white folks. We want to get, what did Rodney King say? Can't we just get along?
Yes.
That's our mindset.
He raised that question.
Yeah, that's our mindset. We want peace. We're not looking to come back and take vengeance on you like that. Mm-hmm. But if we had peace, the earth would be much further along. But the white supremacist mindset says, I'm better and you're not, and I should be ruling over you. And I don't want to share power with you. Mm-hmm. And mindset, and it won't let you go to any other level of thinking. Then I can sit next to you and you equal to me. Even though the Constitution says you're supposed to be equal under the law, you don't think that. And the people that framed the Constitution didn't think that either. Their equality was for those who had money. Because if it was for everybody, then women would have had the right to vote. They would have been equal. People who didn't own land, if you weren't on the landowner, you couldn't vote, even if you were white. But the Constitution said you're all created equal.
Well, let me ask you a couple of things before I go to the judge. Isaac, we have the judge. We have two callers online.
We have the judge on the line and Pianki online.
All right. We're going to have a great discussion today. But Omar, back to you. Donald Trump, when they were asking him if he would accept the results of the election if he lost, he never answered that. That tickles you, Omar. But listen, he never answered that question. And not only that, would the military have to go in, you may or may not have some thoughts on this, go in and remove Donald Trump after this election?
I think he's a great showman. I don't think he's going to be sitting in the seat of power after the election if he's not re-elected to the position. I think he's just talking.
Think he just talk? Okay.
Well, because I know he knows that he ain't got nobody to defend that position except his crazy self.
Let's look at this scenario right here. Remember the last campaign. Most people thought Hillary had won. She won the popular vote. She almost won, but Donald Trump has the seat. Now, do you think we're going to see a repeat of that this time around? What are the odds, Omar, in your estimation at this point in time?
The level of dissatisfaction in the people is quite high right now. And when I see Republicans bleeding over to the Democratic side because of Donald Trump's incompetence, I see Donald Trump taking maneuvers that are criminal in nature, but immoral if they're not criminal, to try to win the election again. Donald Trump is not fit for this job. He was never fit for it. He wasn't fit for any public servant position because he don't see himself as a servant. He sees himself as a king.
Okay.
So if you made him king, Donald Trump, he would be comfortable with that because he feels like he has supreme power and he don't need you to tell him anything.
Okay.
That's why he don't worry about daily briefings. He already knows everything and you can't tell him.
All right.
So Donald Trump is Donald Trump. He came into office with that attitude. He don't leave office with that attitude. My only hope for Donald Trump, if he don't leave office this time around, when the next term expires, if he's reelected, that the courts in New York have some handcuffs waiting for him and make sure he got prison time with a comfortable bed where the king can sleep till he finished out his day.
Right, you're talking about the Southern District of New York.
They got indictments waiting for him. Mm-hmm. And that's what I hope. That if he wins this time, because stupid people don't go vote. People who feel like it ain't gonna matter no way don't go vote. And this man gets back into power again. I pray that the Southern courts in New York have handcuffs waiting for him. So on the last day of the last year, when he's ready to exit the White House, they got indictments waiting for him, and they got a prison van waiting to take him out of there and take him where he rightfully belongs. Because he don't rightfully belong in jail, he rightfully belongs in hell.
Okay, fine.
Places would be fine.
Okay, final comment on that, then I want to go to Pianki and then to the judge. Is Donald Trump incompetent? Is it true that he's incompetent, as others are saying? Yep. And is he carrying out criminal activity?
Yep. Yep.
Go for it, Omar.
Donald Trump is the man. He has the mindset of a criminal, but he also has the mindset of a racist. I know they're going to support him. I mean, I can hear that coming right now with Pianki on the phone.
He's on the other line.
Yes, he got baptized and changed. He got transformed by the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
But
Omar said, hey, Dan, Omar said baptized and transformed by the Holy Ghost.
but I really don't care. I know Donald Trump. I study that dude every day.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah. But he's one of my favorite matters to study.
Okay.
And he is who he is. And I don't make no excuses for him.
All right.
The scum of the earth, and scum, when God gets through, goes down the drain where the other waste goes.
All right.
Donald Trump.
Pianki, I'm coming to you now. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to ask, I was wondering why come the NAACP don't issue a travel advisory about the dangers of being harmed, shot, and killed, like they did in Missouri, claiming that blacks traveling through the state of Missouri stood a chance of getting harmed, shot, and killed, basically by white police officers. Why come they haven't issued a travel advisory likewise for the city of Chicago, where in the last 89 days up to August the 20th, 1,393 blacks have been shot by other blacks. 1,300, that's 1,393. And 221 murdered, including the 18-month-old shot and killed, 10-month-old wounded, and an array of young people under the age of 14 shot and killed, doing nothing but walking the streets, playing, riding bicycles, or standing in their living room practicing. Why come the NAACP don't issue that travel advisory?
Well,
Fit the narrative?
is it what?
You want to say that whites have done something to blacks, but have no white police officer shot one shot in Chicago. Matter of fact, I think that they wrote a delegation of duty is to come out when all the smoke clears and just stretch the yellow tape and put down the spent shell markings on the sidewalk.
I see. I personally cannot answer your question right now without having done further research about why the NAACP has not done this or that, come out and issued a travel advisory. But here's my response and position that I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak. The things that stand out for me, the things that I'm most interested in, one of the things around here in Memphis, Pianki, is that what really irritates me and frustrates me are these Arab stores, corner stores, and they're not all Arab. Some of them are Ethiopian. Some of them look like you and I. And they're a horrible group of people, a horrible group of interlopers. So I cannot work on everything because, we as a people, we face many, many problems. So you have to have...
That's interesting you say that.
Well, let me hold that, put a pin there. Put a pin right there because I want to hear what you say. But that's why you have to have a committee, an umbrella committee, which we have. Then you have various other committees like they do in government to address all of these issues and problems. So here's my question to you. Are you looking at addressing some of those issues yourself? And go ahead and tell me why it's interesting that I say that.
Well, you said that Arab and Ethiopians are horrible people. That's racist of you to say that. And what's wrong with the stores? The stores are there legally, they got licenses to operate in the community. I don't understand these double standards that I hear.
Well,
always coming. I mean, it's really, think about this though, Wallace.
Okay.
This is serious. These are double standards. If white said something like that, oh, baby.
Well, I know that for a fact.
Well, so why are you saying they're horrible? You made a general statement saying that Arabs and Ethiopians are horrible people.
Well, history says the Arabs are the first.
Don't say nothing. Ain't nobody around recording no history.
Hold on now, Pianki.
If we talking about the ones in your stores that you said, just what you said, the ones in your stores on the corners.
Pianki, hold on. Stop right there. You're going to get a chance to make your conversation, but you are interrupting me as I begin to...
I was talking, you interrupted me. Well, it's your show. I ain't paying no... I was doing like Veruti this week.
How much? $5. Come on, man. Come on. I said history says this. Before I could finish what I was saying, Pianki, you said, oh, history ain't said nothing. That history says that the Arabs are the first, some of the earliest enslavers of black people like you and I in this country. That's why I said that. And then I see these guys every day. And then I hear horror stories from the people in the community about these guys. You see, so that's why I said that.
Why don't they
That's
call the police or report it to the police then?
Well, that has happened. And it's so bad.
You, as a citizenry in Memphis,
but
you control the police. Then what is it that they're doing wrong? It should be addressed. You can't blanket call all Ethiopians and Arabs horrible people.
I said the corner stores, Bianca, you're not listening.
All the corner stores are horrible people that work up in there. Some are employees.
Most of them are. And most of them don't give a damn about black people. They are raking in millions of dollars and taking them from the community. But my point was, I work on the things that I'm interested in. So don't try to sidetrack me. I'm going back to my original statement. You seem to be interested in these issues dealing with black people killing black people. You're interested in the NAACP. So I wanted to make a comparison and say to you, why is it that you are not working on these issues? I want us to have a discussion, but you come across as complaining, but not working. So whether you agree with me or not, I'm not complaining. I'm offering an analysis, and I'm going in on the particular problem that I'm interested in, that I see, that's keeping black people in poverty. And yes, a lot of black people are not aware. And yes, sometimes when you have an issue with these interlopers, sometimes, and you see that in revolutions as well, your own people look like you come against you. So what is your work? And I want to go, I want you to stay on the line. I want to go to the judge and him to respond to some stuff.
My work is busy, but I was going to say something else too. According to U.S. Census in 17 and 19, based on payroll reports, that black median household income increased 257% greater than that did amongst white median household income between those 2 years.
Okay, and you had something
about that. That's good.
Yeah.
And you had something on your Facebook. You should already know it.
Well, I was extremely busy the last couple of days. I haven't been on Facebook too much this week. Been doing some.
Well, I've been extremely busy too. I've been with the NAACP.
Okay, I've been frying bigger fish.
And they don't answer the phone.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you say your work is busy. What do you mean by that?
I'm always busy.
Give me an example.
Busy doing business, trying to put together seaports, write synopsises for investors.
Okay. Yeah, you seem like you seemed as if you didn't want to come. You seemed as if you didn't want to.
With the National Society of Black Engineers.
Okay. But you seemed kind of slow about responding, as if you didn't want to share that with the people.
Didn't know. I was kind of slow in responding because I didn't know where to start. It's just so long.
Okay. Well, you know what that word "trying" means, don't you? T-R-Y-I-N-G, trying.
What does it mean?
It means you are trying to do it. And I'm not trying to be mean to you, man, but you're not doing it. A little technicality.
Information on an organization that you could probably mimic some of the things that they do in the St. Louis area, MOCAN.
Well, I've tried to call those people, and I haven't given up on them yet. The last time I asked you for that last number again, I don't know, you said, anyway, you didn't share it with me. But
could I say something?
Yes, you can.
You know what that word "trying" means, don't you? I'll talk to you later. Hello, Judge. Nice to hear you again, sir.
Hey, the judge is going to say something, Bianchi.
All right, Bianchi. Good hearing from you.
Bianchi, P-I-A-N-K-I, Judge. P.
Bianchi, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said B.
No, Bianchi.
Okay, go ahead.
I called in the other day, thanks.
Yes, he did.
I was doing something for a local young lady.
Okay.
My look at this is, black folk can be so pathetic that we get embarrassing. We ought to be embarrassed sometimes. Why are we loyal to the Democratic Party? The Democratic House has not come up with one thing in this entire term that is good for black folk. Plenty if you're gay. during the last 8 years of the Obama administration, the U.S. House, which was controlled essentially the last 2 years and the first 2 years, delivered nothing to black folk. That president, number 44, Barack Obama, delivered nothing to black folk. And during the Bush administration, when the Democratic Party controlled the House, they delivered nothing to black folk. I don't know why in the hell black people are loyal to the Democratic Party. We weren't. We switched over when FDR was in office and people were looking for employment. And speaking of which, the highest rate of black employment until COVID-19 struck was under Trump. It certainly wasn't under any of the Democratic or Republican administrations since LBJ, which is 52 years ago. Now, by any metric, I can't see why in the hell black folk have a problem with Trump, except they're loyal dogs. Trump committing crime, hell, as a criminal court judge, retired. I looked at what came out during those so-called impeachment hearings about Biden and Obama. And I said, they ought to be in jail. So now everybody thinks because the media has gotten all of the black folk to act like trained dogs and blow the whistle and we respond, we all think Trump needs to be in jail. And we talk about Trump being a racist. He hasn't done anything racist toward black folk, but Biden's got a 50-some year history of being a racist and doing wrong for black folk. If only back in '67 when he first ran for office in Delaware on a campaign to keep the schools from being desegregated, he called black folk animals, and if we integrated the schools, it would turn them into some jungles and zoos, and he had Faubus and Stennis and Wallace and all of that bunch of arch racists coming in to campaign for him because apparently it impressed them when he was an intern. And he just went on, and then he had the eulogy for what is that dog down in Mississippi? I forget his name, and he wanted it in Wallace and all of the bunch. He said they were his heroes, role models. He promised to dedicate the rest of his career to following in their footsteps, and then he gets this fake and fraud, as per her own daddy, Kamala Harris, his running mate. Remember, he swore up and down he was either going to get somebody gay or lesbian to be his running mate, so I guess that's what he did. He kept his promise, and you want to do what? That we're all worked up about, and then we're talking about the Ethiopians and the Arabs running the corner businesses. Well, I've had that.
Well, I think our local politicians are responsible for that.
Hold on. I want to say what I have gotten from some of my conversations with some of those people. All right, they say they have absolutely no respect for their customers because here they are coming in from abroad, and all of these black Americans have been here all of these years, and they don't have the sense and acumen to take advantage of the opportunities and set up their own businesses. Said it's disgraceful. I'm looking at it from another standpoint relative to what I used to do 30 plus years ago, represent criminal defendants. And from some of the things I picked up on my national contacts, there's nobody running a protection racket on them. I mean, all of the thugs and gangsters robbing their neighbors and raping their neighbors and burglarizing their neighbors and selling.
Yeah, but Judge, you're going off. Hold on, Judge. Hold on. No, sir. No, sir, Judge. Stop right there. Stop right there. Because it's the politicians who are highly responsible for some of this.
It ain't a politician.
Huh? Who's a politician?
It's not the politician.
Yes, it is too. Yes, it is too. I'm telling you, it's the Listen, you've got look, you just got through talking. Hold on, Judge. Hold on, Judge. You just got through talking.
These bastards.
Who?
We don't have to go vote for them.
Yeah, but you just, wait a minute, you're contradicting yourself. You
I'm
just
not
got,
contradicting
yes,
myself.
y'all, I'm getting ready to tell you.
Look.
Week before last, you talked about, which I agreed with you. I agreed with, I agree with you. I agree with you on Steve Cohen. What you said, you're totally right about Steve Cohen. So that's what I mean by contradicting yourself. Now, Steve Cohen has not done most of the money who came here. So that's what I just said. That's what I mean by you contradicted yourself.
I'm not
It's the politicians. Yeah, and you're right. And you're right. Why do we? I don't. Why do we elect these politicians? And what do they do? I'm telling you that's part and parcel of the problem in terms of these stores.
Look.
And you and Pianki not going to tell me what I know about these corner stores. I don't want to get off on these corner stores, but I told Pianki that's my number one interest, and Pianki gonna sit up there. Pianki gonna sit up there and tell me I'm racist. Are you saying the same thing Pianki said? I'm racist because listen, man. Listen, Judge, I just saw this the other day.
That's not where I'm going with this.
Go ahead.
I'm saying it's like this. You got a red hot poker, and there's a insulated glove you can pick it up with. Okay, the poker's red hot, and you got the glove. You put your hand in the glove and you pick the poker up. It's not your bare flesh on the red hot poker. It is the insulated glove. Well, the politicians are effectively those insulated gloves, but it is the people that elect them. And in this system, for 200 years, there is a caveat to this whole thing. The people get the representation they deserve. In other words, if your representation is crappy, that's because the people who are electing them are crappy because they don't think. They don't analyze. So, yes, the politician is the interface. But what I'm saying here, and I'm not suggesting this because it's criminal, but I'm surprised these street gangs have not been enterprising enough to run protection rackets and gain some kind of control over these entities. That's what the Italians did. That's what the Irish did.
I got you.
And wait, let me go back to one other thing.
But I want to ask you a question before I forget it.
Okay, let me ask you one thing about Chicago.
What should be done, since the people are pathetic voters? What should be done, Judge? Share with us your expertise on that issue. How do you do? And think about all the revolutionaries across the world. What did they do, and how did they do it?
You are doing it right now with this show. And that is, first off, you got to get inside the heads of the people.
Yeah.
They've been propagandized for a long time with negativity and dysfunction. They've become to glorify dysfunction.
Absolutely. And that's what I've been telling Pianki down through the years.
Look. Goebbels said tell a lie long enough, loud enough, often enough.
And then everybody start believing it. I'm not going for it.
He said the absolute enemy of the lie is the truth, because the truth can defeat the lie in much less time than the lie established itself. Now, Chicago, there are a lot of black kids being killed in Chicago.
Yeah.
But Democratic Mayor Lightfoot, I can't help but think of it in those terms because I grew up running the dozens on the playground. But look,
welcome to the club.
She took community development funds, and instead of giving it to responsible Hispanic organizations in Chicago, this idiot, this Democratic mayor, gave the money directly to some Hispanic street gangs. Well, what happens is the Hispanic street gangs bought up a lot of those guns that got stolen from those boxcars. They supplied themselves. And what's going on in Chicago, which the news media is not covering, is that large numbers of black kids are getting gunned down by Hispanic street gangs. And in retaliation, some black street gangs are gunning down not an equal, but a significant number of brown kids. And it's a damn war that just fool engineered. Now, point of why do we give a damn what the hell Trump does to white folk as long as he is delivering something that we need? I don't get it. We're always up in arms about somebody's being a criminal or a crook. I don't see black folk worked up about that really bad crook for us. St. Ron the Reagan, you know, the Reagan, they love him. I don't see them getting worked up about what that charlatan Barack Obama did during the time he was in office, and he sure as hell butt screwed us with no grease. I mean, but I don't get it. We get so much into imagery that we just dance like trained dogs who've been conditioned to salivate when the dinner bell rings. And every other ethnic group in this country has absolutely no loyalty to a party unless they control that party and that party delivers for them, except black people. Come hell or high water, we'll vote Democratic, even if we don't get a damn thing, even if our natural enemies get everything, we will still do it. We don't understand how to use the political process because nobody teaches us. Our usage of the political process is too caught up with the damn churches. The preacher gets money in his back pocket. He invites some of these charlatans in to speak to the congregation and delivers the black bloc vote. Or some charlatan black politicians who we put in office deliver the black bloc vote. They hand out sample ballots, and you know what I'm talking about around here. Everybody hustles for these sample ballots because nobody knows who the hell to vote for when they walk up to the polling place, except 2 or 3 folk out of the many on the ballot.
Okay.
And that's us. And we deserve every damn thing we get.
All right, let me ask you this.
And then, wait a minute, let's go further. We get somebody in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I'm going to call the name.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stanton III, and he sat in there, did not a damn thing to help straighten this out because they promised his ass a federal judgeship, and they were conning the fool. Soon as Trump got in office, they had held him up for 5.5 years, promising him a judgeship. They withdrew his name, put a nondescript white boy in there who was approved in 3 weeks. And he held off his chance for historical significance on the promise of getting something selfish. I get lawyers around here, black ones, I try to convince to take some cases pro bono because they live here, and that would cement their reputations as a hell of a lawyer so they could get some clients, and they tell me that they can't take them because they can't afford to jeopardize their career by taking on Germantown, the city of Memphis, the city council, the county commission. They're just punks and cowards.
There you go.
Some accept, but
All right, I'm going to Omar now,
we
Judge.
just deserve what we get.
Okay, I'm going to Omar now. I appreciate your effort to go pro bono. Omar Baruti,
Yes, sir.
let me ask you this. Obama, when he took office, was there a meeting that took place in D.C. to go against everything he said? When he gave that first State of the Union address, did the white guy stand up, something's never been done to any other president, and call the man a liar? Is that right? Did Mr. McConnell say we're going to make, which it wasn't successful at that, a one-term president? Now, his hands were tied, locked. Let me ask you this. Didn't he forgive, I don't remember the exact number, so many billions of dollars of student loans, which most were black people? So to say that he did absolutely nothing is not entirely true. So, go ahead, Omar. Did you have any notes, anything else? Go ahead. We're approaching 10 minutes. 10 minutes, we'll be at the top of the hour, AM 1600 WMQM. Omar Baruti, go ahead. We'll come back around to Bianchi if he's still there. He's gone? Oh, he ran?
He hung up.
Well, let's run it. Bianchi ran. Go ahead, Omar.
You know, when Obama took office, the night of the inauguration, the Republicans met to make sure everybody was on the same accord, and that he was going to be a one-term president, and no matter what legislation he was trying to promote, they would vote against it. That was their intention, to make sure he served one term, because they didn't think he would get into the seat of power. But since he got there, let's make sure he doesn't stay there. So they had no intention of supporting anything that he laid out there as an agenda for America, and especially for Black America. Mm-hmm. They were racist, and they are still racist today. So it ain't because I didn't do nothing. You didn't let me do nothing. You didn't allow me to do it. You didn't help me do anything to help my people. That's the racism in the country today, and it was even worse under the Black president. So we can say, yeah, he didn't do, hell yeah, he couldn't do. You can't do what you can't do. And if you ain't got nobody, you can't do it by yourself. So he did a lot of, presidential, whatever they call those things.
Executive orders.
Executive orders, because you couldn't get the Congress to vote for anything that would allow you to help people in a way that you wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. And the things that you did support, some of those things were sickening. Like gay rights. Yeah. Sickening. Mm-hmm. So you opened doors that you let him go through, but doors you didn't want him to go through, you made sure they were double locked. But let's go back a minute. We're talking about these Arab stores and our people have no knowledge of self. They don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. They don't know about the spending power of Black people, and they don't know how to spend money with each other. They have been taught to hate themselves through the music, through the videos. They've been taught that, and they still are taught that. Mm-hmm. They're taught not to even trust each other. Mm-hmm. From the plantation, even right now, to this new generation X or Z or whatever, the millennials, they still taught that. We have got to change our thinking, and if we don't change our thinking, we won't ever change our action. Mm-hmm. You couldn't put an Arab store in a Jewish community and expect support from Jewish people.
Well, Omar, you heard the judge say that they do not respect, and let's keep it on Black men, these Arab stores, not just the Arabs, some of the ones supposed to be cool, do not respect, that they told him they don't respect us in the Black community. And that was my main leading point, that they don't respect. So I laid that out. Bianchi gonna sit up there and call me a race. Now I agree with him about the overgeneralization part, but they mean us absolutely no good. Say you study Donald Trump every day. I study these guys every day, and I know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Omar. Take it away.
Let's go back though. I mean, the solution is simple. That nation of Islam continuously talk about, knowledge of self. You got to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, you can't know where you are. And you can't know where you're going. You can't know your potential. You got to know where you came from first. Then you know, hey, this is not me, the one that they made me into. They made me into this nigga. I didn't make myself into a nigga. They made me that. And I'm thinking I am that because that's all I've ever heard all of my days. But if I go back to my origin in the earth, and I realize that I'm king, I'm the scientist, I am those things that they say I never was, I am that. And I got all kinds of things. They don't tell me about all the Black scientists and the Black people that made huge achievements. You should know who you are, and then you will be what you know that you can be. But when you tell somebody they're nothing, they're scum, they're this, they're that, and what they was living, then that's how they're going to move through the earth. If you tell them that and you convince them of that, and they brainwash to believe you, that's how they're going to operate. We operate like we are at the scum at the bottom of the earth, like we don't deserve to live. That's why we kill each other so easily. We rob each other, we raise our women. We call them bitches and hoes. You couldn't do that to white folks. Because they taught you white folks are not that. They're the queens, they're the princesses. They're not the scum of the, they're not the bitches in the hole. And you don't call them that either. You call them Miss and Mister. Because you have been made to hate your own self. We got to get rid of self-hatred before we can go and say, hey, the Arabs can't come out here. They can build a store, but we ain't going down the street and buy nothing. But then we got to show our own children that we can do our own thing. Because we got the money, we got the power, we got the know-how, we're just not exercising that.
Well, now, the judge and I covered some of that, Omar, in terms of why we are the way we are. We covered some of that. So let me ask you, even the judge, you're not a nigger. The judge is not a nigger. So shouldn't we share, in spite of the opposition we will face, shouldn't we share that to build up a vibrant community in terms of how we transform ourselves? And how would we do that? What would be the first step?
The first step is the music that our children listen to. If it has those derogatory words in it, we should go to the artist and tell them to clean it up, or we're going to clean you out. You're not going to poison the minds of our children. We're going to make sure nobody in Black America buy your music. White folks might buy it, but nobody black going to buy it, okay? If we tell you you're going to give me green, give you 2 or 3 warnings, we'll give you 1 warning. And you got 30 days to fix it. Anything that's going to poison the minds of our children, you got 30 days to fix it. That's like you're talking about the lobbyists. These games that children are playing, they're poisonous to our children. Go back to the same ones that allow them to sell damn games and say, hey, you gonna take this game off the market. It's causing our children to go into destructive mode. You're going to take it off the market, and if you don't, then we ain't going to buy none of your games. None of them. We're going to make sure we blast you through the NAACP, the Urban League, and every major civil rights organization in the country. Don't buy this from this manufacturer. Don't buy none of it. And if you got one, throw it in the trash. And let's make sure we bless the Delivered Church in America. We ain't buying none of your stuff until you get this poisonous stuff out of the marketplace that's destroying our children. You got to come together as a black nation inside of a nation. That's what Israel was, a black nation inside of a nation. And you got to come together in such a... That's what the Jews are in this country. There's a Jewish nation inside of America. They support Jewish causes. We got to have that same mindset. We got to support black causes in the same way. So you can't let people destroy our children, because that's our future. If you keep on poisoning the children's mind, they're going to keep doing something worse than what you do. I see children in prison now, 18, 19 years old, with double and triple murder. Where'd they get that from? Back in my day, you didn't think about having a girl. You had a slingshot. Hell no, you didn't think about that. That never crossed your, that never crossed your path. Most houses didn't even have a gun.
Well, let me ask you this. Doesn't that approach require some kind of organization to take this information to educate in a proper way our people who face these problems? Isn't that what's required?
It's required, and we have to understand that it's going to be up to us to do it.
Okay.
They're not going to do it. They put us in this predicament, and they love where we are, and they want to make sure we stay there.
All right. It is the top of the hour, AM 1600, WMQM, Lakeland, Memphis. And Isaac, you said Pianki ran? All right, let's go back to Judge Joe Brown.
Let me say something.
Go ahead.
How are we going to do these things if we don't have the foundation in place? The foundation is the traditional nuclear family and all the roads around it in the community, the extended family.
Yes.
We support a party, the Democratic Party, that is irrevocably committed to the destruction of the traditional nuclear family. Now, Brother Baruti, I'll have to disagree with you. Mitch McConnell, I agree with you. Mitch McConnell said what he said about him being a long-term president. But back when he got elected, I had a lot of influence because I had a #1, #2 national TV show. I had a lot of influence with the black caucus. A lot of them called Ward Banks. You have to remember that when Barack Obama got elected to his first term, for the first part of it, he had the Democratic majority in the House and the Democratic majority in the Senate. He could get anything. They expressed extreme frustration that they could find out what was on his mind, that is the black caucus in his mind, meaning Barack Obama, more likely going on CNN and hearing what he told them, because they couldn't get to him. They couldn't communicate with him. He wouldn't return their calls. They couldn't meet with him. They said, well, maybe he's got a legislative plan. And in the last 100 years, he came up with the least legislation in his first 90 days of any president elected in the last, 100 years. And he had no excuse for not being able to get anything he wanted through. The first thing he did is he had a Supreme Court vacancy. Did he nominate anybody black to deal with pathetic Clarence Thomas? No. He came up with a non-black woman who's a lesbian. He got another shot. Did he put anybody black up there? No. He nominated a non-black woman who was another lesbian to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. So, legislation, did he produce anything? It wasn't Obamacare. That was our Republican state senator, Dr. Bill Frist, who drafted so-called Obamacare, and it benefits his company. And as soon as he got it, his family, who started Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and most of the HMOs, they got that in, but that isn't Obama. The only thing he came up with was that Economic Incentive Act, drafted by Geithner, who had formerly been chief consultant for Goldman Sachs. And that was the largest single bill in the history of the United States government. Still is. $781 billion to benefit primarily Goldman Sachs and their ilk. He gave us nothing.
Okay.
There is no earthly reason why that fool, and I call him that, he could have had a moment in history, aside from being the history for being the so-called first colored jerk to get up in there. He's not one of us because he has no black American ancestors. Kamala Harris has no black American ancestors.
And are you saying the same thing for her?
What? Same thing.
She's
for
not
her.
not one of us, as you
got
put
a
it.
man up in there that his worst thing he did was head honcho this thing back in 1979, which produced in 1980 this draconian change in the drug laws, where 10 rocks were to be treated on sentencing as though they were 1 kilo of pure coke. All right? And he pushed this thing to end federal probation and parole, which has stuffed the prisons with a lot of people. I used to go out here to the federal maximum security penitentiary in Shelby County, out there where the penal farm is, and saw a ludicrous thing where they had inmate guard trustees who were guarding the people in there with 5 years for having 3 and 4 rocks from the rest of the organized crime, terrorist types, and really fiendish folk up in there. And see, we look at how in the world a black person could think about voting for that avowed, long-term racist Joe Biden, who for the 47 years he's been in the Senate has done nothing but one blunder after the other. Who, when he was in Delaware, said he was ashamed that Delaware did not go with the Confederacy, and he was proud that it was a slave state because it kept these animals in their places, meaning us.
Okay.
Where he used to say all the time, all the way up into the 80s, he knew how the Negro thinks.
Okay.
And we have to, that just makes me want to vomit thinking of that. But see, I'm getting so upset about Trump because I get clowns calling me misogynistic because I say Cardi B is a slut and so is Kim Kardashian.
Well, we've got some people on Facebook.
Lady is a lady.
Let me acknowledge the people on Facebook, Judge. I'm going to come back to you because I've got.
Somebody needs to turn that radio down. We get nothing but feedback. It said you got a caller on also on the line as well. Kazi is on the line.
Okay, we've got Ken Wilson called. I'll get in touch with you, Ken Wilson. Latoya Harris, listening from the hospital. She's been in the hospital for a while. Get well soon. Omar Mimra, gonna need a little more feedback from you, Omar, about this question. Omar asked, who is this handkerchief head apostrophe S? Not sure who you're talking about, Omar. So give us a call, put it on Facebook, who you're talking about, and let's see if we can get some exchange around that question. But Judge, and then hold on, Kazi, I'm coming to you. Judge, when do you have any plans to step forward more visibly beyond the panel discussions, the radio and all that, to do more educating and organizing. Go ahead, Judge.
Let me say this. Every week I've got a show that I tape for 3 hours on Friday with the assistance of a beautiful sister, Valerie Denise Jones.
I heard that the other day.
And it's on Spotify, YouTube, and a few other places you can get it. I also do radio at least 10, 15, 20 times in addition every week trying to get the truth out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the truth? Black men can do any damn thing we decide that we want to do. Mm-hmm. And if you decide you want to play basketball, football, baseball, that means you go work out, get in physical shape, you start practicing the skill set that you need to play that game. Well, we can do that too for politics and other stuff if we determine that we want to do these things, so we start practicing the skill set. Okay. That doesn't require that you have knowledge of self. That just requires you have pride in yourself. Knowledge of self is not an end in and of itself. It is merely a means to assist somebody in acquiring pride and respect.
Okay.
But we tend to focus on it as an ends rather than as a means.
Okay.
Which is an error because it causes us to stall out with the dashikis and the African robes, running around in sandals and everything else with trying to be more African than anybody else and speaking Swahili, which is a slave language. So, we got to focus on what is important. We have to understand what being a warrior is. That means, first off, you are prepared to die for your cause. You are not going to do it frivolously. You're not going to stand when you can have nothing you can do because your stand is untenable. Sometimes you got to make a demonstration. Sometimes you got to kick behind. You got to go do things that are off the record and are frankly illegal if you're going to do it. Of course, I'm not advocating that you break the law on this forum, but you have to consider the means in which people have done these things. Instead of worrying about studying about Africa, study revolution. Mm-hmm. It's out there. Everybody that staged the successful one has left clear and cogent instructions on how to do it. So
all right, we've got another, Judge, we've got another question on Facebook. Hakeem Love, my son, he asks, why Bianchi and the judge always blasting and looking down on black people? Is that a valid question coming from my son?
It's a valid question. I look down, Malcolm X said that, trying to be black, the more you get to know your people, sometimes the more ashamed of your people you will become. Because you see what they could do if they would simply have pride of self and start doing what is necessary to get your stuff together. Mm-hmm. Now, I am very proud of black folk when they start accomplishing stuff. I am very proud of black women who want to stand up for the family. I am very proud of black men who pay their child support and take care of their children. I am very proud of young brothers who get their heads together and getting what they need in school. I am very proud of brothers who acquire warrior skills. I am very proud of brothers who stand up and say, hell no, this is wrong and it's got to change. I am very proud of black folk who start doing what they need to do. I am deeply ashamed of fools who keep claiming that white supremacy makes it irrelevant to do anything at all, and they sit there and they just wallow in nothing in their lazy asses and won't do what's necessary to prepare. To be a warrior is hard work. To be a hunter is hard work. To be a man is hard work.
All right, let's go.
It's going to come just because you sit there and talk about it.
Okay.
You have to develop the mindset. You've got to get what goes on between kindergarten and 12th grade. You've got to inspire these young boys to get it together, kick butt, take names, and every damn door they'll run into in the rest of their lives will be at least unlocked, though they may have to kick it all the way in. But at least give them a shot, for God's sake. Pay attention.
All right.
Run them off the street corners. They got no business hanging out there.
All right, Judge, I'm going to Omar now.
Your books, boy.
I'm going to Omar Baruti, Judge.
Together.
Got your point, Judge. I'm going to Omar Baruti. Omar.
Yes, sir.
One of the points the judge just made is that it ties back into this lack of self-knowledge. Seems that sometimes we interpret the information wrong or get the wrong information, and we, in general terms, try to outdo, be more religious than the next person, be more African than the next person. So, is this problematic, this distortion of mind, and whatever else you want to add to the discussion, Omar? Go right ahead, sir.
You have got to know who you are. There is no other way to go. Mm-hmm. Your children know who they are, where they originated in the earth, before they can know how to transverse across the earth. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to do it. Mm-hmm. Now, you can hold grudges against people and say they this and they whatever the hell they are. But you cannot say that you don't have some children in your closet. You won't keep the door locked so nobody knows they're in there. When I look at people in life in general, I mean, they talk about Nat Turner's rebellion, but what was Nat Turner before he went into a rebellious state? He was a preacher on a plantation, teaching black folk how to be good slaves, and to not to whip you, then hey, that your God ordained it. And then one day Nat Turner woke up, and Nat Turner saw the truth, and he had a whole change of his mindset, and he went out killing white folks, even the children of white folks, because he realized you are no good. And you are doing nothing but, evil things to my people who have done nothing evil to you. So Nat Turner became, I call him the righteous Reverend Nat Turner, out there doing this. And then they shut down America. The black folk could meet nowhere without a white person being present, because they thought there might be another Nat Turner somewhere in the bushes that might come out of the bushes and do to them what they were doing to the slaves. But if we go into the Bible, we talk about a man named Saul. Saul was persecuting the Christians and killing Christians. But Saul on the road to Damascus, they said, had a transformation. And Saul became Paul, and now he has several books in the Bible talking about Jesus. So somewhere a transformation took place between the Saul and the Paul, between the Nat Turner, the slave preacher, and the Nat Turner, the rebellious man, the revolutionary Nat Turner. You will always have those things in human individuals. As you look at the one Malcolm X, he was a hustler, a pimp, doing all kinds of low-life things. But once when Malcolm went to prison, he met a man that had met a man named Elijah Muhammad, and that transformation took place. And when he came out of prison, he was a totally different man. Mm-hmm. And everything he did in his past, that is the past. He became the revolutionary Malcolm X. The Malcolm X that was helping the Nation of Islam and doing things to set the FOI up, the File newspaper, those things. That's the Malcolm X that people remember. But they don't remember the one where he was out there pimping and hustling and doing criminal activity. You got a right in your life to make a change, a turning point. And then what you did yesterday should not be held against you today.
Okay. Hold on, Omar.
Let me say one thing, Brother Ed. We still haven't answered that brother's question about why Brother Omar and myself are always...
No, Pianke. He said Pianke. He didn't say Omar. He said Pianke. But let's take Kazi right quick. He's been waiting a while.
Give a quick answer real quick to that, since I don't think I really answered this question. Your mama sitting up in church and the preacher telling her what's wrong with her relative to Jesus. Well, black men ain't sitting up on those damn church pews. They're out in the streets. So somebody that can talk to you is telling you, just like your mama gets talked to about what she's doing wrong. We're telling you what you're doing wrong. And if you don't know what you're doing is wrong, you keep on doing it and you keep messing yourself up. Mm-hmm. We're trying to give you, like Love Power, the show, we're trying to give you a little bit of love where you need to go if you want to be in.
We've got 15 minutes. Omar wants to read something. Let's take Kazi. He's been waiting a while. Go ahead. Kazi.
Good morning, brothers. Thank you very much for this opportunity. You had started with the question of killing politics. Well, it reminded me of my first attorney after I started doing the bar imports in 1971. My attorney later on became a judge, General Sessions Court. Brother Ron, thank you for your emphasis that the attorneys, they have a role in civil if we can find one to take a case, Brother Omar, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you for the one that you sent me to in South Haven. But to make this short, I just wanted to say, playing politics is the thing that we may call it, but what we're doing is selecting representatives, equal representatives. I'm in several courts right now, general sections, and the question whether which comes to me is what it looks like when I call the Memphis Bar Association, you know, that because of the different lawyers here in Memphis, I get an automatic screening after I put in my information on the website. An automatic, and I said to the area, well, it's real estate, it is landlord tenant, it is those things. But immediately I get this new phenomena in the bar association, is I think it's called 901 something. But what it does is that it steers all African Americans, unrich persons, to the Memphis area legal service. They are the New Alliance, and this is what we're talking about, playing politics. This is set up now. It used to be on Saturday at the Bear Hook Library. I go there second Saturday of the month, do my full 10 cases, what I'm working on, or I go to the Veterans Administration, that's the second Tuesday of the month, their legal help, and then I would go to the other one, which is at 140 Adams, the old courthouse on Thursday. All of that's going. And what I'm saying to you is that we're at the point now where it's going to be helpful for us to organize attorneys to take cases that are called civil. These are civil cases. The landlord has right, landlord has this right, and non-dependent. But then we come around, we find out as we look deeper into it, it's really not a civil case, it's a criminal case. And this is part of the stuff we're talking about in trust. The African Street Brothers and organization, they are kind of going over in an area that comes out of a civil section property right, general sections, and so forth. But anyway, I won't go any further into it, but as our case is, we have several of them.
All right. Hey, Kazi, thank you for your call.
Yes.
Let's take this up some more next week. Bianchi responded to Hakeem Love.
We'll do it. We'll be happy to do.
Yes, sir. Why are they forever blaming whites for their woes using myths? 1,393 shot by blacks since Memorial Day weekend. May 23rd, 25th through 25th, shooting and murder in Chicago, and 29 days, no white police shootings. I think Bianchi lacks insight with that regard. I'm going to come back to you, Omar. We have 10 minutes left because I told you I'd come back to you and allow you to finish once we took Kazi, and then back to the judge and you're going to close out, Omar. Go ahead, Omar Baruti.
You know, when Donald Trump's own family pulled the cover off of Donald Trump, and they know him intimately, then case closed. He was one of his sisters saying that when their dad died, Fred Sr.
Well, I think it's two sisters, Omar. Go ahead.
But I'm talking about this particular one, though.
Okay. No, I'm saying they both spoke to the negative of Donald Trump. Yeah. One's a judge and one's a psychologist.
How did black folk in any position defend a man like that? How do you defend? When you have people who have intimate knowledge of this man, and they're telling you who he is, and then you're going to still defend him? You done lost your mind. But then says he came to his own father's funeral and spoke, and most of what he said was nothing said about his dad. He was talking about his own accomplishments. How do you do that in a film when a man that brought you to the world and gave you all your sustenance and got you to where you are, and you say nothing about what he did for you? You talk about what you're doing and who you are and how great you are at your dad's funeral? That is a man who has a mindset that says, I don't give about the rest of the world. It's all about me because I am the Savior. I am the God, and you are nothing except piss in my toilet and dirt under my feet because you don't matter. This is who the man is, and they're telling you who he is. How can you support a mess like that? Do y'all get all of them? How do you support it?
Well,
Don't tell the sister they lying because they don't know nothing about it. They always know better. You know better.
that tickles the judge, Omar. But let me say this real quick, Judge. Be on the lookout for this, that the convention is going to be, this is what the experts have said, now I didn't say it, that is going to be comprised mostly of Donald Trump. Go ahead, Judge.
Well, his two daughters are little ratchet cupcakes, and they're all off in that PC nonsense. So yeah, they might get on him. But remember, I was impressed by the fact that he didn't say anything good about Daddy, because remember, Daddy was the one that was trying to do the Klan stuff and all of the old line racist stuff. So maybe
he got his car in the closet. He just didn't take it out yet. Don't let him go off with babies. He's going to say it's good people on both sides, and he was a white supremacist. He got his food in the closet.
You know, and you got to not lie about it, which is impressive in and of itself. But
and he got white supremacists all over the country working with him. They love it.
As vicious as long as he's doing something that is beneficial to me and my people, then I support him.
When you get into the conversation, who is racist.
Then to hell with him.
He supports racism, and he is a racist.
Well, I know Biden's a racist. First time I became familiar with Biden was in 1967.
I don't like either one of them, but I know this one is strictly a racist.
Intern thing for 6 months, so I brushed up on it. He's been a racist.
He ain't trying to change.
3 years in my mind, and he's
ain't no road to Damascus transformations without Trump. He didn't go to a grave like that.
Well, we've got 5 minutes left, and let me ask both of you this question. Is Donald Trump dangerous to this country based on this way of life? Oh, let me finish my question. Let me finish my question. Hold on. I know about Reagan. So does he like Putin, Kim Jong-un, Erdogan, and those guys? And my point is this. Do you like that way of life in Russia? What's the guy? North Korea, and Erdogan. Oh, that's Turkey. That's Turkey. Me, I've never been there, but I see some things going on there that I do not like. I would not, at this point, don't like that way of life coming to this country when we are working to straighten some things out here as it is. Omar, you go, then you. No, you go, Judge. We've got 5 minutes. Look, 2.5 minutes, Judge. Then 2.5 for you, Omar.
It takes 15 seconds. Remember that phrase?
Yeah.
Keep your
I know your 15
close,
seconds.
Keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Somebody's got sense enough to keep the enemies close so he can get his hands on them and know what's going on. It impresses me more than somebody's bad-mouthing them and won't even talk. That's not good diplomacy.
Okay. Omar, go ahead.
Why don't we teach, if you went to a country and you got the children of that country and taught them that their worthless, they're nothing, and every time they see somebody look like them, they should take a gun and kill them. I mean, you plenty of guns, so you make sure you got ammunition. And then you brainwash them like that, because you brainwash people when they go into the military. That because these people look like that, they look like Vietnamese. They have all the same characteristics of Vietnamese, and that's the enemy. You'll kill them and their children because you've been brainwashed to believe they're worthless and they deserve to die. But if you tell the same people that you gave the guns to that you're worthless and you deserve to die, you're going to kill each other. Because you brainwashed them to believe that you have no place on this earth and you should be eliminated from the earth. Once you brainwash your people, they're going to carry out your instructions because they are brainwashed. You don't give a crazy man a gun and expect him to know how to use it. especially when he's crazy and you know he's crazy. You don't do that. And we have made black people, you are taking them out of their mind. That's why you got 1,000 people getting shot on the weekend. Because they don't know who they are. And once they learn who they are, they won't do that kind of crazy. But you won't teach them who they are because the school system is not set up to do that. They're not set up to give them self-knowledge. But don't be blaming them until you teach them first who they are, and then you'll see a whole different man. But you won't do that. The system is not designed for it, and even the households of black America won't do it. Because they want to integrate with these other crazy folk that taught them how to be self-haters. You gotta change your thinking before you can change your
party in the office that's trying to destroy our families so that men can become.
I know what I'm talking about because I did it when I was children's school. I could change my children think about who they are, and then you can learn the science. But you gotta learn who are scientists.
Family and manhood.
And once you learn that you are scientists, I ain't got no problem teaching you science because you hate you see it all over the place. That's them, that's me.
But why do we want to support a party that hates straight men who are effective men? Why do we want to support a party that has as part of its policy the destruction of the traditional family?
We don't need to be in any party. We need to be independent.
We want to support that
party. We need to be Republican or Democrat. We need to be independent. And I tell you that we need to have an independent party.
They do believe.
To hell with both of them.
So, I mean, both of them are bad. Why do we have to have loyalty to one of the scoundrels? Both of them.
We don't need no loyalty to one of them. We need to be independent. We're going to give us the best deal.
Well, I've heard both of you. Hold on. I've heard both of you say that you are independent.
Yeah.
So where is the coming together with an agenda or an agreement there? There's still some disagreement there, Judge. Both of you are. The three of us agree that for black people, that neither party is good for black people. And hold on, while we were talking about beating up on the Democrats, the Republicans are no better. Let me tell you what the Republicans do. The Republicans sit up there. The Republicans sit up there and they listen. I've seen these kind of tricks before, and they simply say nothing, and they do nothing because they know all the dirt is going to fall down on the Democrats. Don't tell me about these Republicans of today. I'm not talking about back then that you were talking about on your show the other day. I'm talking about the Republicans of today.
They're scoundrels, especially on the local level.
The Republicans are scoundrels. Let's go on record saying they are scoundrels, and the Democrats are the Democratic Party. So we got scoundrels and gay working against the black man. Listen, answer this question. Both of you. Judge, here's the question for you, Judge. Where are black men in this discussion? Omar, where are black men in this discussion? And let's close on that note. We are right at 11:30. Go ahead, Judge. Real quick now, Judge. You got 15 seconds, Judge. I know your 15 seconds. And then come on, Omar.
Vote for the man.
Huh?
Vote for the man.
Vote for the man. Come on, Omar.
In other words, what somebody is actually demonstrated that he'll give you something in return for your vote, or even if you don't give him a vote, what he's done. Versus a scoundrel who is a low-down racist, Joe Biden, who is a liar, fronting off and being a fake black, Kamala Harris. And by the way, the scam is going to be if that fool got in, he would resign in about a year. That would make Kamala Harris as president of the United States. That would make Nancy Pelosi under the 20th Amendment vice president. You'd have San Francisco controlling the whole damn country. Which you can guarantee.
San Francisco. All right, come on, Omar. Close us out, Omar.
They don't need the racist stones to put Joe Biden. They don't need the racist stones. Trump got enough stones. I ain't trying to put no more stones in his toolbox, okay? I don't like Joe Biden, but he's a lot better than Donald Trump. Donald Trump needs to go to the grave, to hell, to wherever they're going to send him to as soon as he walks out the White House. Joe Biden may not be the best candidate for me, but hell, he's the only one I can vote for and sleep all right at night. He got lots of problems, but he ain't got the candidate that Donald Trump got. So we need to go to the polls and vote for Biden, and then kick his ass just to get in the White House. Make sure he's still on the track.
All right.
We need political science technique. Vote for somebody else other than who you are expected to vote for, so they don't get comfy about assuming they have you and not having to do anything for you.
All right, you know what?
political science.
It seems like each show we have to say, let's start right there next week.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's start right there. Let's take it up next week. Right there. Vote for the man. I am the man. Vote for me, and I will set you free.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the Love Power Show with Wallace Red.
Judge Joe